It's a thickness thing, bro. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, my receding hairline and all that.
Yeah. It just happens. It's genetic, you know. Nothing you can do about it.
I think it's about protein consumption. Holla!
What's up, guys? JT's in the background because his hair's thinning.
Wow, that's allegedly.
What's up, YouTube guys?
Shout out.
How you doing?
Guys, we've got the questions. We've got a lot of questions today, so we're going to be setting the timer. We're going to go. So our first question is related to, the whole question is about strength, and this comes from Luca Frisia. How to balance BJJ and strength training in a week schedule?
All right, well, let's start with what the majority of people are doing is they're training a lot of BJJ. So our recommendation is, hey, try and get 2 strength sessions in a week. Yeah. And I would say if you're getting 3 jiu-jitsu sessions and 2 strength sessions, that's an excellent training week. Now, obviously, there's people on either sides of the spectrum. You need to make it work for you. The only real piece of advice I can give is to make sure you're not overtraining. So that means you might have to sacrifice a little bit of jiu-jitsu to get the strength in, or you might just need to accept that maybe you can only do 1 strength session a week.
True. And I also had someone say to me this week, oh, I can't do any jiu-jitsu, we just got locked down. Is it cool if I do this 4 times a week? And I said, yes, it is. But what I'd encourage you to do if you're doing like day 1, day 2 and repeating, to have like one day that's a bit harder and one day that's a bit easier. So yeah, like look to push yourself when you're fresh, but then also don't overwork yourself. If you are repeating the workouts, don't kill yourself. Think of your second session as a skill practice.
Don't pull harder the strength session every day.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. That would be the wrong way. So now we have the notorious Connor. Thank you for tuning in.
Hope the ankle's coming along.
Yeah, good luck to that shin bone. Now the question is, what type of strength training program / tips for a 55-year-old post-heart attack? Thank you.
Well, post-heart attack, obviously that's going, like, specific advice for you is well outside of the scope of what we're qualified to recommend. However, I'm assuming if there's some kind of issue going on with the heart, you want to be taking your training slowly, and you want to be building intensity over time. So I think the training should be very much strength focused and not like cardio, or like it shouldn't be based on high efforts or high output. But I would also think that the same rules of any strength training apply, following a simple program that covers all of the bases, attacking all the major muscle groups, sort of building you in a well-rounded way, much like we do in our program.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing is, when you're really training for strength, you want more rest time, and it's more about the quality of the movement. So that would speak to just taking your time between rounds and making sure that you're fully recovered when you attack your next set. So if you are coming off the back of a heart attack or, cardiofibrillar issue, give yourself time to recover, so you don't take something which is designed to stress your nervous system and make it something which is going to stress your kind of cardiovascular system.
Further to that, in terms of using our program, the age has nothing to do with it. We have people who are in their 60s following our program. We have people in their, as teenagers. And the beauty of it is that it's scalable depending on where you're at. So if you're asking about its appropriateness for your age, it well and truly is.
Yes, sir. So now we have Shindavin 55 is coming through with the questions, top 10 exercises with a kettlebell for strength.
Do our kettlebell program, they're in there.
Yeah, all of them.
I mean, we can't rattle off the top 10, right? Turkish get-ups are in there, goblet squats are in there,
swings are in there,
presses are in there,
farmer's carries,
bent over rows,
jerks.
Should be about enough. Let's
windmills,
go.
bent press. Like all.
Yeah.
Do them heavy, they'll make you strong. All right, kind of a good question. Light of the night sky. So good. All right, let's have a look. How to know when you need to increase. All right.
Was there a second half of his response on another thing?
Yes, how to know when you need to increase the weight. We'll just expand on that. When you need to increase the weight on a given lift. This is what I'd say. Like one of the strongest lifters of all time, Eddie Cohn, he never worked to over 90% of his maximum. And this guy lifted the heaviest weights in the history of the world. He always worked between 70% and 90% to varying degrees of sets and reps. An easy way for you to know if it's time to increase the weight is, and this is something we've talked about before, you'll start with 3 sets of 8 or 3 sets of 5, and then you're gradually building up your repetitions until you're doing 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12. Then you can take the reps back down and add a set. And you're gradually increasing your volume, which means you are increasing your work capacity. Yes, you might feel, oh, this weight feels light, but you're actually just getting better at it. So you can be very confident once you can do 5 sets of 10 or 5 sets of 12, you are definitely ready to take that next step, which is, say, a 5 to 10% weight increase. That's how I'd approach it.
Yep, and further to that, I would say, once all of your sets are executed for the same amount of reps and you feel like it wasn't really hard work for you, I think that's time to go up, right? Yeah. Whether it's weight or reps until you hit the top of the rep range. But if you finish the set, you've done all your sets at 12 reps, and the program says 8 to 12 reps, and you've done 4 sets of 12, and you're like, man, it's feeling pretty good. It wasn't that hard today. That's an indicator. All right, next week, go up in weight, drop the reps back down to 8 and start again.
Yeah, good call. Our man, David Fitzpatrick, what's David got to say to us? How do you plan your meals when training for increased strength, i.e. total calories / macros, splits, split times, etc.? Okay, that's a good question. So essentially, if you want to get stronger, eat more. Working in a deficit really, strength training hits you on a number of levels, yes. But if you want to be a bigger, stronger person, you have to eat like a bigger, stronger person. Essentially, having surplus energy is what you're going to need to grow, but then also to have lots of energy to produce a lot of force. Now, essentially, if you look at anybody who's maximally strong, they don't look lean. They don't look ripped. They're not necessarily someone who looks like really, well composed.
What about Ari?
Compared to what? No, Ari is a strong guy, but
skinny, strong guy.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say he's not the strongest guy in jiu-jitsu.
No.
Right. So what I'm saying is this is a very general approach, David. So don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying get big and fat so you can lift big weights. What I'm saying is if you're considering what food that you're taking in, you probably want to be on the kind of eating enough to maybe eating a little bit more, whether that's protein or carbohydrates. Trying to lose weight and get strong at the same time does not compute. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I would say further to that, your macros and the split, for me, it doesn't really change whether I'm trying to get strong or I'm trying to put on weight or I'm trying to lose weight. Protein will always be at around the same. Carbohydrates and fats may fluctuate a little bit depending on how much sort of jiu-jitsu training I'm doing. But essentially, it's just, for me, at that point, it's just about the macros. So like JT said, if you're really trying to focus on strength, get into a calorie surplus or be at maintenance. If you're trying to, if you're still trying to get strong, but you're not trying to get bigger, stay in a deficit. That's going to, you're going to be sort of doing, you're not going to be maximizing your strength gains, but you're going to be ticking both boxes.
And, give a man an inch, he takes a mile. This guy, David, thank you for asking your second question. What does a day of the week meal look like for you when strength training focused? Well, for me, it's kind of ridiculous because I obviously am not just trying to be strong, I'm trying to be superhuman strong. So I eat enough food to kill a normal human. I eat a big portion of carbohydrates. Like when I'm strength training, carbohydrates are actually more important. A lot of people underestimate that. So I will eat a lot more carbohydrates, more than protein. So if we're talking ratios, my meal will be 50 to 60% carbohydrates with like a 20-30% protein and then 10-20% fats. That's what a meal looks like to me. A lot of potatoes, a lot of rice, lots of broccoli, lots of tomato, capsicum, all of that, and then a solid chunk of meat.
Yeah, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
We'll do a YouTube video on it.
Yep, good call. Moving on. Our next contestant is Stitzlab. I don't know if that's one name or it's like oi, Stitzlab.
Oi, brother, chuck us up.
Yeah, check us out, bro. Can you build muscle with body weight only exercises?
Yes, you can.
Yes, sir. You bet you can. I mean, I think some of the best examples of this is like a lot of the guys who do kind of jailhouse training. There's so many characters throughout history who've been stuck in isolation and they're just in there doing push-ups and squats and modifications on pull-ups, and all they've got is their body weight. and they have achieved amazing levels of hypertrophy off really shitty levels of nutrition, just using their body weight. So I think, without going into what's better or worse, yes, you can. All right. H Jiu-Jitsu, we got you. Back again. BJJ white belt wants to compete soon. Strength at my level seems to make a massive difference.
The second half.
Continued. Speak to this, Joey. I'm weak for my height / weight, so should I prep my rolling more or lifting more?
All right, I guess the overarching piece of advice is going to be, if you're a white belt, don't worry about it too much. Like, I'm guessing you haven't competed much. It's your first time competing. Don't overthink it. Do you need to be stronger? Do you need to roll more? Just go compete. Keep training jiu-jitsu. Keep doing your strength training. I think if you get to a point where competition is super important to you, you're at like a purple belt level, you're competing in big competitions, and you're very critically analyzing your performance, and you're like, I'm super weak, then it's like, all right, well, we need to prioritize the strength training more because it's more important to you, and it's obviously a larger hole in your game. However, respectfully, at white belt, you got so many fucking holes in your game. There's no point on zeroing in on just one of them, right? Be it strength, be it close guard, be it stand up. So my advice is don't overthink it. Just keep doing the thing.
Well, I would say if you feel that you are weak for your size, you either need to get stronger or lose weight. It's real simple. If you're a kind of like big frame guy, like you're long, you're lanky, don't want to assume too much here. But if you find that guys in your category are like ex-rugby players and they're putting smash on you, you either lose weight or you got to get stronger because you're entering a competition. It's competitive and they're going to try and kill you. You better be ready to compete. That's my advice. All right, Namastrama. Let's have a look. Namastrama has asked, why strength train just 2 times per week? Does that allow for more recovery and mat time?
Yes.
Correct.
Most people want to. Most of the people here, as part of our movement, our community, they want to train more BJJ. Strength training for the majority of these folks is not their primary focus. So that is why we have a minimum effective dose of 2 strength training sessions per week. However, if you are more interested in it and you do want to train more, you totally can.
Yep. Agreed. And I think the thing is, we're always trying to think about what's the maximum effective dose? Like, what's the most I can do to get better? When actually, that's not really the best way to approach it. If you think, what is the least I can do and get better, that does leave you time for job, life, kids, and jiu-jitsu. All right, JP Botero. Let's have a look. JP has said, how can I up my strength with kettlebells without becoming slow?
I think that question is perhaps predicated on the belief that by training strength, you will become slow. And I don't necessarily agree with that. If you were training slow strength only and doing nothing else in terms of your output in your life, yeah, maybe it's going to slow you down a touch. But if you're training jiu-jitsu, like being fast is part of jiu-jitsu. So I don't think that you need to worry about training strength with your kettlebell making you into a slow person.
And typically the movements you do with kettlebells, even though there are some movements that are slower, the kettlebell swing is a plyometric activity. Same with the clean, same with the snatch. Like there's lots of movements that are not slow, they're actually dynamic. So ultimately, it's on you to take your strength and turn it into power. But you must have strength before you have power. So really, strength is a gateway to speed. If you don't have strength, it will be very hard for you to be powerful. All right, last but not least, my boy, Mark Rainman. Shout out, the crazy country savage. Who is the strongest Avenger?
Never seen it.
Well, I'm gonna say Hulk is the strongest Avenger, but he doesn't know jiu-jitsu. If Hulk knew jiu-jitsu, then I could say for certain he would be the strongest.
The Hulk fucking hung out with Hickson Gracie though, bro.
That's true. There's
a connection.
There is a connection there, but I never saw him doing that crazy abdominal breathing. Like if the Hulk could do that, then maybe be unbeatable. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much, Instagram. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, fam. And YouTube.
Oh,
I'll see you guys next week.
You and you.
Legends.